All right, guys, we got a special guest for you today. And what I mean by special guest, each season we only allow one you out of the cast crew and you category. Last season, it was my big brother for Jackie Brown. And this season, we have something special for you. I'll let him tell you about himself. But before he tells you, David, why don't you tell us his name and tell us a little bit about him?
His name is Coby Greif. He is a writer for Comic Book Resource and Screen Rant. And that's about all that
That's
I know.
all you know. That's all you know. Hey, first off, Coby, thank you for joining us today. How are you feeling, man?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here. I'm like honored to be the one you in the whole season. That's awesome.
Could you tell us a little bit about what you what you do at CBR, what you do at Screen Rant, and pretty much just put the audience's mind at ease that they're about to listen to somebody who knows what they're talking about, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I work for CBR and Screen Rant, mostly writing articles, list articles. Recently started doing some more features for CBR. That's Comic Book Resources. And they're both under the same umbrella company. So it's cool. I get to write about anime, movies, comics. And a lot of my topics I get to pitch myself. So kind of like whatever I'm watching that week or, thinking about them. Like speaking of Marvel, I was watching the first Iron Man with some friends and I was like, everything was catching my eye. So I just started making a list right then and there. And that became, one of my more recent lists. So it's awesome.
Now, Coby, I like that. Let me ask you a question, though, because there's some kid out there sitting on some sofa watching this interview right now. Well, technically not now, but we have the Agamotto. So it's next Thursday. He's going to be watching it. But with that being said, they're saying, hey, I want to do that with my life. And clearly you just didn't jump from the couch to here. So please let them know it's a lot of hard work. How'd you get from the couch to where you're at right now?
To be honest, it was probably the easiest thing. So, like, out of all the things in my life, I feel like the hard stuff is always the wrong stuff sometimes. But yeah, literally, was like, how do you write for these guys? You literally go on their website, follow the link, you apply, you just do your best. I guess I was lucky to get it. I've always enjoyed writing. And next thing I know, I'm writing these articles and now it just feels like a little too good to be true. But and now I'm on this podcast. So it's like, it's just crazy.
I'm curious that, like, when you, because I watch a lot of the Screen Rant list videos, I read a lot of the articles, and I'm always like fascinated by how oddly specific they are sometimes. Like the top 10 villains that didn't realize they were a villain until the final act. Like, where do you, like, how do those ideas come to you for because the lists are just so crazy sometimes, and there's so many. So to come up with a list that offers something fresh is impressive in itself.
Yeah, like I think they try really hard not to have duplicates, obviously. So sometimes it's like just a small variant off of another idea. But I think it's kind of like when a company gets made, like Uber, and everyone's like, "Oh, I thought of a great idea," but someone had already thought of that, I'm sure. And it's like, then I look on the list and I'm like, oh, I guess nobody thought to write this list. I wrote a bunch of lists for Avatar: The Last Airbender. I talked about different anime characters that would make awesome airbenders or waterbenders. And I was surprised no one had written that before. But, I was able to write for all different bending styles. And so it's like you just let your creativity flow and it's awesome.
What was your first interaction with Doctor Strange? Like, when did you first see it? What was your initial thoughts?
So it was when I was living in Atlanta. Me and my girlfriend, who's now my fiance, we went to there was like this really hole in the wall movie theater. It was a Regal, but it was like at like a dying mall. And it was like cheap, like $4 tickets. We went and it was awesome. I was like, I think it was the first Marvel movie where I was like, this is so different. I felt like, it had the action and everything, but I felt like it was way more like creative and artistic. And now we've had a little more of that, with WandaVision, other things. But yeah, like I was pretty blown away by that. And also a huge Benedict Cumberbatch fan. I love Sherlock on BBC. I don't know I think Star Trek Into Darkness came out at that point. So he was in a lot of stuff and it was cool to see him in Marvel. Yeah.
I think that's the reason why he told me that I would like this movie. This should be my introduction to the Marvel Universe because I would appreciate that because it's different from the other movies in certain ways. And I thought it was like, I didn't expect a comic book film to be so like unafraid to be intellectual to the level that it was.
It's the Joker, a film of it's the Joker of Marvel. Because think about it again, he gets in an accident, loses his mind. You know, like he gets crazy. How he treats old girls, like how he treats Harley Quinn. She's his heart. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's the exact same, but what I am saying is I knew because of you using your mind, because I saw how turned on when he first met Vision. He didn't know who the Vision was. When we started watching WandaVision, he was like, wait a minute, it's Paul Bettany. I'm like, yes, Paul Bettany. And I was like, oh, if you love this, he didn't throw, I mean, barely, the one punch he threw in Doctor Strange almost broke his hand again in Carmitage. So yeah, this is for you.
And I'm not even one of those people that, I'm not like, I don't feel like I'm better than Marvel movies or something, like some indie filmmaker that's like, oh, these are below me, like Martin Scorsese or something. No, Who
directed Doctor Strange? Exactly. But who? See what the I'm talking about? Departed. Scorsese. See what I'm saying?
I'm just saying that I'm not. I want to put it out there that I'm not anti-Marvel. I just nothing it for the most part. It's just.
Let me get this straight. You have black friends, is what you're telling me. That's exactly what you're saying about this film. Like Marvel. Like, oh, I've watched Marvel films. No.
Okay, so Doctor Strange is my token.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
I don't want to like talk about Martin Scorsese for too long, but I will say it's funny you bring it up because it's like, it's not like Martin Scorsese is an indie director. You know, he directs big blockbuster films. And I think it's, you know, I understand the criticisms, I do, but just Marvel makes people so happy. You know what I mean?
It does.
And I think whether you're a huge fan, you've seen every movie, every show, or you've read all the comics, or whether you just dabble in it, I think like you can't deny that like it's everywhere. People enjoy it. You know what I mean? And even if you're just dressing up, even if you have your wife put makeup on your face, you know, it's fun. Like just doing that, you're a fan.
We're the first era, and he's in that, I would say anyone from 28 to 38. We're in that era to where you were born with comic books already being there. By the time you get around 9 or 10, cartoons are out there, X-Men, everything's going on. And now we're adults and we start paying to go see these movies being made like in front of our eyes, and our kids are being born and we're teaching them about it. And now we're doing a show. We're that one golden era that's seen everything. And that's why it's so prevalent is what I feel right now.
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of us, you know, I mean, I'll tell you, Iron Man was the first MCU movie. I saw that with my dad. We were taking my older brother up to college summer orientation. I had to tag along, I guess. And that's what we did, you know? And now we're 23 movies later and multiple shows. And it's like, I think it's just like, it's part of people's families. It's part of people's foundations at this point.
So where would Doctor Strange rank in your top 10 lists of Marvel films?
Oh, it wouldn't be on the top 10.
Oh, wow.
Is that, should I lie?
No. He's confused now.
Keep it real. No, I have no frame of reference beyond that, so I can't.
Wow. Okay. Now you're talking about the MCU, right? Not every other Mark, not Howard the Duck or anything. You're talking about like just strictly MCU.
Just MCU.
Okay. All right. What is your number 10? I don't even want to know your number 1. What's your number 10? If that's not your top 10, what is number 10?
I don't know what number 10 is, but I definitely have my go-to favorites. And I think that, but you know, that's what's great about Marvel is like there's something for everyone a little bit.
True.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I really like the Captain America movies are so, I think Winter Soldier and Civil War are like almost the gold standard.
That's the number 2 on this list.
Because it's the Russo brothers. They also directed Community, and I love Community. And I think it's just like for me, and that's just like where it needs to be. But to be fair, you know, Doctor Strange in a lot of ways is the future of where Marvel's going. It's going into the magic and the multiverse and all that stuff. And so, and Captain America, you know, he's done. I mean, not spoilers, I guess, but you know, we're done with that. You know, we're done, you know, so we're going into this new age. So I think it's kind of cool that you got to now see Doctor Strange. I think you're going to appreciate where things go even more because, you know, Doctor Strange 2 is coming along, Multiverse of Madness, and that's where it's all going down.
Right. And it's the first. It'll be the first film to Doctor Strange 2 will be the first film to do the direct tie-in from the MCU as far as the TV shows and that because Olsen, if we can call her Olsen, Scarlet Witch will be there. You're blowing his mind right now by saying he wants to know. He's going to ask you to email him later what's your top 10 because this is his number 1. He's looking like
it's my only one.
He's only seen 3. I'm joking.
All right, so let me dive right into your Doctor Strange knowledge. Then I'm gonna throw some. I mean, a pop quiz, hot shot. We use that's one of our segments, but I'm gonna actually now. I'm gonna actually close the book. So this is gonna just be from my mind to your mind. We're just gonna do this right there.
Hold on 1 second before you do that, because my mind is still blown by the fact that you said that the director of Community did Winter Soldier.
But I told you that Russo brothers. See, here's the thing: the first Captain America was cool. When the Russo, that's why I know you weren't listening. I told you the Russo brothers. And in fairness, I didn't know they directed Community, so we're good here. But for some reason, when they took over with Winter Soldier is a top 3 Marvel film, dude. And I'm so pissed that they've done Sebastian so wrong ever since that film. Like. He's not badass anymore. He was the coldest killer in the world.
Never-ending story?
Huh?
Top tier action.
Top tier action, but then he goes from people handling them AR-20s and doing all this and catching the shield. Now every time we see him, he's just holding up a raccoon, shooting guns. Like, man, give him some justice.
I tried to watch that. I didn't watch Winter Soldier because I tried to watch Captain America, whatever the first one was.
You know, I feel like that's a rough one for a lot of people. I think it's important for the overall story, but I'll agree. It's certainly not in the top 10.
They should let us see Winter Soldier and then until the next one came out, then gave us the first Avenger. Make it a prequel. They put it this way, bro. They would have, if we'd have never got the first one after he died in this one. Spoiler alert. They would have ate that shit up if they would have gave us the prequel. They would have ate it up.
Exactly. That's true. But you know, everyone loves their origin stories.
They do.
That's what I liked about Doctor Strange was it tricked me into. I was invested in the character before it became a comic book film. And the acting was just so good.
It was.
That's why I enjoyed Iron Man, because the directing with Jon Favreau and Robert Downey Jr.'s acting was just it was incredible for a movie, not just a comic book movie, but for a movie in general.
But I'm gonna tell you, to be honest with you, Christopher Nolan had a lot to do with how the MCU had to start taking it serious, and that's the one thing. That's the one thing that they can hold over Marvel. That's the only thing I think they can hold over Marvel is that when Christopher Nolan took over Batman, he said, "I want it set in a real world." We can do it. We'll still put all of it in it. And so Iron Man made you feel like it's in a real world. They played on Afghanistan. They played on your heart, proof that Tony Stark has a heart. So all of those things happen. If you notice, that's why you got to go back and watch, like he said, 22, 23 films. Because if I'm not mistaken, help me out here, in Winter Soldier, as he was just talking about, is the first time we hear the name Doctor Strange, Dr. Stephen Strange in the universe. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's a deep cut. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Yeah, like when they're targeting the potential threats, the Hydra, taking over whatever those are called, the helicarriers, and they do mention Stephen Strange. So that was where they started to get into the more Easter eggs. And I think going back to what you were saying in terms of Iron Man and I think Christopher Nolan's Batman's definitely set a new standard, a new tone. And I think Iron Man was super relevant at the time. Dealing with terrorism and dealing with corrupt corporations. That was literally the summer of 2008. So I think it was just I think that's also what got people, was just hyper relevant. And a lot of what other people talk about too is that Robert Downey Jr.'s personal life is so mirroring the character of Tony Stark in terms of battling, alcoholism and other issues. So I think I don't know, it's just kind of like this perfect storm, and
yes,
kind of like us today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What blew my mind about, and I know this is about Doctor Strange, but Iron Man, what blew my mind about that movie was at the end of it, I grew up with superheroes that were all about anonymity. Superman, Batman, at the end of Iron Man, he's just I am Iron Man. I'm like, where the hell do you go from there?
After they told him not to say it, but that's what made him badass.
Yeah.
He's badass, man.
Again, going back to the directors of Community doing Winter Soldier, because I saw something on IMDb, and I don't know if you can confirm this or not, but because I trust IMDb about as far as I can throw a couch. But I saw in there that Dan Harmon was a uncredited ghostwriter on Doctor Strange as far as the revisions and everything. Did you ever hear that? Dan Harmon, the writer of Community, creator of Community.
Okay.
I mean, I've heard, with these Marvel movies, such a big production, it's possible he got his hands on that script, especially with his relationship to the Russo brothers and then to Marvel. You never know.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay, so we're going right into Comatage. Watch this. Your pop quiz, and he didn't let me do a pop. Who voiced the villain in the film? Dormammu.
Dormammu was Benedict Cumberbatch himself, the Doctor.
So he was literally
hero and the villain.
He was literally battling himself at the end of that movie.
Demons.
I think this was even after, because he voiced he did the motion capture for Smaug in the Hobbit movies. he's pretty, and I think he's done a few other motion capture roles, and there's some behind the scenes stuff that's hilarious to watch on YouTube of him being a dragon. It's great. It's really good.
So let me ask you this. Okay, so we're talking about Doctor Strange here, and like you said, he asked you your first interaction with it. But I would ask you this: what were some of your top scenes from that film? I know it's back 2008, but what were some of your top scenes from the film that blew your mind?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the scene when he like enters. I call it the Matrix, but when she like pushes him out and he's going through that whole crazy thing, he's got like hands on hands. I mean, that like haunts my dreams, but also it was awesome. Like I'm seeing this in a superhero movie. I thought that was cool. I loved, I thought the comedy of him, when he was his astral projection self fighting the other astral projection guy at the hospital was great. And I love Rachel McAdams, so just like seeing her in the movie, I felt like she didn't have enough to do, but they fit her in. And then all like the Inception, like the buildings falling on one another kind of stuff was crazy. And it was just cool. I thought they made magic look cool. I'm not the biggest Harry Potter fan. I didn't really read the books growing up, and I enjoy the movies. I recently marathoned them. They were all on HBO Max for a little, and now they're on Peacock. But I just never really understood that level of magic. I felt like it was too old school a little bit, and this made magic kind of seem cool. It made it seem, I don't know, like it made it seem heroic. It didn't just make it seem mystical.
What does Caecilius say? You don't know how to use that, do you? He say it's cool. Like, no, neither do I. Shit. All right, let's see what happens here.
Yeah, and all like the cool, and you got like the cape, and you got all the like shield looking things, and I don't know, just like visually was cool.
Now, somebody said they were going to have an Infinity Gauntlet, or did you go back in time? It's the Iron Gauntlet. It's the Iron Gauntlet. Stella. He has no idea what it is. Stella!
Yo, like this is love right here. This is, my fiance got me this for my birthday recently. We were at my cousin Brianna's boyfriend's place, and he just has this in his bedroom. And I'm like, are you the coolest person in the world? I'm like playing around with it. And she sees me. I'm like, I've never been this excited. So that night she went online and bought it and kept it from me. I was like, damn, that's crazy. And now we keep it right on our bookshelf, which is maybe a little too much. But one day we'll have a house. I'll have my own cave. We'll put it there.
That's the coolest shit ever, man.
It's sick.
Because it's not the Infinity Gauntlet, it's the Iron Gauntlet, and you have no the idea what we're talking about. Catch up, man.
Nope.
Jeez, Louise.
No, but you know what? I'm almost jealous because like I've seen all these movies a million times, and it's like I want to watch them again for the first time. You haven't. You know what I mean? Like,
my plan is that like if I ever get hit by a car and I'm bedridden for like 6 months, I've got that in my back pocket for something to do.
No, the only issue with that is now I like want you to get bedridden. So it's like now I feel bad.
You want them to? You know what I've been dealing with here? Jesus Christ, man.
No, you know what? It is. Look, I tell people all the time, I'm like, these movies are amazing and I love them, but I love this stuff. And I think everyone would, but it's a lot of commitment. And I respect people have jobs, people have responsibilities, but they should have started from the beginning because then it's just a 2-hour commitment once a year.
Yeah. And it's not even about that because I make time. I am busy, but I will still sit on YouTube for 3 hours at night before I fall asleep and just binge watch 5-minute videos at a time. So I've got the time. That's not really a valid excuse for me. It's really what you said. It's become such a daunting Mount Everest of a task at this point to even get into.
My thing is this. I want him to go back to experience the pain me and you felt watching the first fucking Incredible Hulk with Eric Bana. He's seeing the good times. He's skipping all the shit we had to go through. That's not fucking fair. We've seen the Incredible Hulk get recast 3 fucking times. You got to sit through the pain. Jesus, man.
Nah, we'll just write for you. We'll just write the spark notes up. You can just enjoy the good ones. Like, we'll fill in the blanks.
There it is.
So whatever, not everybody wants the reward at the end.
But before we close the interview, I want to end it on something with you. Is there like a recent article that you've written or any piece that is like that's special to you in any way, or that you're particularly proud of that you'd want people to check out if like they're looking for an introduction to your work?
Yeah, definitely. Proud of everything for sure. to be honest, like just in line with what we're talking about, the MCU stuff, I mentioned it before, but my most recent Screen Rant article, it's called the MCU 12 Moments That Are Foreshadowed in Iron Man. And it's kind of like, I think any MCU fan will enjoy it like I did. I was like watching this movie and I was like, oh my God, like we're going to see that. And I think it's like, it just shows the power of where the MCU came from and how it really built upon itself. It's easy for future films to reference previous films, but it's rare that we get to see a film just like be shown throughout an entire franchise. So, I'm hoping to do articles like this for a lot of the MCU movies, but we'll start here. So yeah, check that out.
Awesome. And Coby, thank you so much for finding us at just the right time in our lives and being here today. Yeah. And
let's give him an applause because I think he passed the test. Audience, give him an applause. Yeah, let's give him an applause. You're supposed to be clapping. Add the effects.
I'm gonna add the effects in.
I know, but now I'm clapping.
Right.
Hey, all right.
Check him out. We will put the links in the description for this video and any other videos that this video is contained within. And one more thing. Coby, do you have anything that you would like any parting words or anything like that you'd like to share with the audience before we move on?
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of this, is two things. One, don't tell people they have to watch anything. They don't have to do anything. If you want someone to watch it, you have to convince them. And if you can't convince them, that's on you a little bit. That's one. And two, like what you like. Don't just like something because everyone else is liking it. That's not cool. There's so much great content out there these days that it's a shame to not find your own niche of what really excites you, And for a long time, I wasn't telling people like anime, but guess what? Right now I'm currently watching the reboot of Digimon and it is incredible. So it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like what you like and you'll find like-minded people. I mean, look, I wouldn't think I'd be in this room with you guys right now talking about Marvel movies. And here I am. And it's only because you like what you like. You shout it out from the rooftop. So
I love the original Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen twins VHSs. It takes two. Steve Guttenberg. Chris, yeah. All right. So you told me to be yourself, and then as soon as
I thought you wanted me to say what I love. I love Pam Grier and Jackie Brown.
Okay. All right, Coby. Thank you very much for being here. We very much appreciate it.
Why don't you subscribe? It'll last longer.